relatively few years, naval aviation has undergone a revolution. It began with two innovations, atomic weapons and jet engines, and continued in the design of aircraft and aircraft carriers. One of the Navy's new aircraft is the Douglas A-3 Skywarrior, a twin-engine jet bomber designed for long-range heavy attack missions with a wide variety of conventional and special weapons. The carrier has been rebuilt and modernized. Its angled decks have lifted one of the most serious applications of carriers by permitting simultaneous takeoffs and landings. Mirror landing devices aid the pilot in landing high-speed jets by increasing his own control over his approach in both day and night landings. During all operations involving aircraft, a helicopter takes its position off the flight deck for any emergency. The three-man crews of the Skywarriors are making their first carrier landings in the A-3. These carrier qualification landings will prove the crew's fitness for service with a carrier task force. The A-3, a flight deck director takes over to guide it out of the path of the next incoming plane. If the deck is not clear, or if the landing approach is not perfect, the LSO orders a wave-off with flashing red lights which send the pilot around for another approach. The A-3 is at home on the flight deck of a carrier. No modification of existing land-based planes. It was designed specifically for carrier operations. The A-3 Skywarrior is the world's largest and deadliest carrier-based bomber. At takeoff, its weight with its huge fuel and bomb capacity comes to a total of more than 70,000 pounds. With the ship steaming into the wind, the catapult crew works in a 40-mile gale to engage the catapult bridle and check the landing gear and arresting hook in preparation for the next landing. In charge of launching the planes is the catapult officer. He gives the signal to wind up the engines, then to fire the catapult. The combined capacity of the carrier's two catapults allows the ship to operate as many planes as an average land base. Overall control of the heavy traffic on the flight deck and the hangar deck is regulated from the Flight Deck Control Office. The position of every plane on deck is spotted from the time it is landed until it is either stored or launched. The A-3 was originally assigned to the Navy's supercarriers, but it is able to operate now from all classes of attack carriers since they have been equipped with new, powerful steam catapults for which the plane was designed. Below decks, in the catapult console room, the operator observes the pressure in the steam receivers, then signals ready. The pilot is instructed to increase the power to his engines, and the catapult launches him on another qualifying flight. Launch, approach, and land. A sequence that will be repeated many times, day and night, by every crew of the squadron during this last period of training. One of the best remembered exploits of World War II was General Doolittle's raid on Tokyo. His 16 Mitchell bombers took off from the carrier Hornet, flew 800 miles to their targets, and then Since it was impossible for the bombers to land again on the carrier, they headed for the China coast. At that time, it was an incredible feat. But General Doolittle's bombers were less than half the size of today's mighty Skywarrior. Navy pilots now fly larger, faster planes, but by means of steam catapults, stronger arresting gear, mirror landing devices, and angled flight decks, the aircraft carriers are keeping pace with the advances in jet aircraft design. Crews having completed their carrier qualification landings, the Skywarrior Squadron returns to its base at a naval air station like Jacksonville, Sanford, Whidbey Island, or Alameda. Here they will prepare to move out with their carrier air group for 6 months of realistic maneuvers. In the air, the A-3D has demonstrated extraordinary abilities. On one flight, a Skywarrior took off from the carrier Bonhomme Richard in the Pacific and without refueling, crossed the North American continent and landed on the Saratoga in the Atlantic Ocean. If aerial refueling is used, most of the Earth's surface is within the range of the A-3D. It cruises at a speed approaching that of modern jet fighters, so that it is able to fly its missions without escort. An all-weather bomber, the A-3D is equipped with radar to seek out distant targets through darkness and overcast for high or low altitude attacks. Skywarrior Squadron has completed its training, it goes to sea. For its speed, range, and striking power are needed far from American shores, in the Atlantic, the Mediterranean, and the Pacific, to safeguard the trade routes that join America and the other nations of the free world. Overseas exercises of the fleet give tangible proof that we are at hand to back up our promises of support and to maintain peace wherever it is threatened. Well-equipped, well-trained, and deployed in areas of tension, our naval forces are a persuasive force for peace. As the Navy's strongest instrument of attack, the A-3D can deliver conventional weapons in limited war, or it can make long-range Skywarrior squadrons are now in service in our Navy, part of the carrier task forces which are prepared to defend America and its allies in any corner of the globe.